Welcome to On Her Majesty's Secret Service Special Edition DVD. Please activate your navigation system now.
Greetings, Bond fans, and welcome back to the D-WIZZLE podcast. This is episode 39. If you guys are new to my channel, welcome. This is a podcast channel talking about all the things in the world of movies in podcast form. So if you guys love talking about film and enjoy my content, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 100 subscribers, so please hit that bell to be notified on future videos I'll be doing. But today, we'll be continuing on in the James Bond 007 franchise. We're talking about all 24, yes, 24 James Bond films leading up to No Time to Die, which is scheduled to come out this November. We've already talked about the first 5 installments of the James Bond series, from Dr. No to You Only Live Twice. So if you guys want to check out my thoughts on the previous 5 films, I'll put a link in the description to my playlist called James Bond 007. You guys can check out those podcasts. But today, we'll be talking about the 6th installment of the James Bond series with the first and only performance of George Lazenby as James Bond. We'll be talking about On Her Majesty's Secret Service. So, let's get into this movie. Hit that gun barrel!
I shall be happy to start straight away.
On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Alright, so this is the 6th installment of the James Bond series that came out in 1969. And George Lazenby plays the role of James Bond. So, as when it comes to the James Bond series so far, with most of the Sean Connery movies, for the most part, I thought they were okay. In general, I haven't really been blown away by most of the movies. There's like a couple of them that I actually enjoy. As I said, from Dr. No, From Russia with Love, and Thunderball, I thought were movies. Didn't love them. They had some cool moments here and there, but not movies that I would like to revisit a lot. But I thoroughly enjoyed Goldfinger and You Only Live Twice. I really enjoy those films. And the one thing I will take away from all 5 movies so far is that Sean Connery as James Bond, I love. I think he's a great James Bond and definitely set the standard of the James Bond character. You know, he made it iconic. So we get to George Lazenby. So he's the one that's going to take Sean Connery's place, because at the time Sean Connery was done with the James Bond character. He didn't want to be James Bond anymore. He wanted to move on to different things, which I totally understood, even though I love him as James Bond and I wouldn't mind seeing more of him. He did 5 movies, so it's like, I didn't want his streak as James Bond to be tainted with him doing too many films. So I was okay with them going with another actor, so I was completely open with it. So when it came to George Lazenby, honestly, this is George Lazenby. I wasn't even aware that he was playing James Bond. Like I didn't know he was one of the actors that played him. He was under my radar for like a long time, which I'm sure is for most people, you know, when it comes to the fandom. Not a lot of people talk about George Lazenby. And once again, he's one of the actors that left a divide in the fandom, you know, because there's half that really enjoy him, and then there's half that think he's eh. Though what both people could agree on is that, you know, when it comes to Lazenby's overall performance, it's not really the best. Like, people think that he's, you know, he's eh. I mean, well, not say but it's, well, some people do. Like, I guess, like, they say his performance is average compared to the other actors who played James Bond, which, yeah, came from the people that enjoy him regardless and people that don't like him. So, yeah, I think this is one of the last James Bond movies that I ended up watching in the entire series. So, well, I was willing to give him a chance, even though he only did one movie, so I couldn't really grow too much of an attachment towards him. Or I can't, regardless if I like him, if I didn't like him, I don't know if I could put him on the same level as the previous Bond, because he only did one movie. He wasn't really able to, you know, explore the role as much as the other actors. So, yeah, I kind of feel bad for him, man, because, like, he only gave him one movie, and then eventually went back to Sean Connery, which we'll get to that one soon. But yeah, it was just kind of a shocker to me at the time that they only gave him one movie to do. It was just kind of weird. It almost made him seem like he's like the black sheep of the entire Bond series. So, yeah, didn't have much expectations with this one either going in. So, gave us an open mind. Was willing to give it a shot. You know, it's like, even though I did really enjoy Sean Connery's Bond, I'm open to other portrayals. You know, I'm willing to see what he does. And like I say, I don't know if I could put him on the same level as Brosnan or Daniel Craig either, but, you know, still open to other portrayals. So, watching this movie, wow, I gotta tell you guys, I actually really like this one. Yeah, I thought this was good. Yeah, just totally shocked me. I didn't. I can't believe people don't talk about this movie more. I mean, nowadays I think people are starting to recognize it more, but it's like, I can't believe this movie is not really talked about as much as the previous Bond films. Like, I did enjoy this movie quite a bit. It's really good. So I do want to start with talking about the gun barrel and the pre-title sequence and the main titles. So with Lazenby's gun barrel, I like his gun barrel. It's probably the most unique of all the gun barrels because he's the only one that drops to a knee when he shoots his gun. If I could nitpick, you know, it may not be the most practical thing to just bend down on one knee, but, you know, it looks natural with him. He makes it look seamless, and you know, I think it's probably like a more it's a better stance than when with the first gun barrel where the stunt double was hopping to the side. And then, even though I like Sean Connery's gun barrel, like his bending his leg to the side where it looks like he's trying to hold his balance, but at least with Lazenby's, like it looks more sure of his stance, and like I said, his gun barrel's unique. So I'm glad he didn't try to copy Connery, because they easily could have done that. But yeah, just glad he made his gun barrel his own. I also like the effect of the barrel. It looks like it has like a shiny effect to it, like a glistening effect to it. So I like that too. So getting into like the pre-title sequence, like this movie got my attention instantly, because like just something felt very different about it, you know, because we do start off at at MI6 with M and Q and talking, and it's like, oh, okay, which is one thing we'll get more into M and Moneypenny and stuff like that. But it's starting with them, which we haven't started a Bond film like that before. And then when it came to like the reveal of Lazenby as Bond, I like that they were keeping him in the shadows, like trying to save Lazenby's appearance, because they want to build up the anticipation of this new actor playing Bond. So I like that a lot, when he's driving the car and he's following Tracy in the car. So I like that. And then we get to the sequence on the beach, and I thought that was great. For one thing, I know people are mixed about this, but I actually liked his delivery of "My name is Bond, James Bond." Like, I don't really understand why people didn't like, his delivery. That's one of the things that I heard of the criticisms of this movie is that, they didn't like his delivery of Bond, James Bond. But I liked it, it was a casual, casual delivery, which I know for when it comes to the other actors, selling the line, it's like they feel they have to do it at an iconic moment, which works for those movies. But I just like that, with the way Lazenby said it, like it was very distinct, but at the same time they tried to play it off natural. So I like that. So anyway, they open this movie with Bond following the main Bond girl of this movie, Tracy. And it's starting with her attempting to commit suicide at the beach. Like, yeah, she's going to the ocean and trying to drown herself, which I'm like, whoa, that's kind of a dark way to start a Bond movie, but I'm in on it. So so Bond rescues her and helps her up shore, and then that's when they get into this brawl with these these henchmen. So because I guess they were technically after Tracy, I think, or they might be after Bond. Either way, Bond gets into a fight with these goons, and it's actually really well choreographed, and I like the lighting of the silhouette on the beach when they're fighting. But yeah, the overall fight sequence was really well choreographed. If I had one nitpick though, which is kind of a problem, was kind of an issue that comes up with the rest of the movie, it's like you feel like they are speeding up the footage. It comes off kind of unnatural. It's one of my main issues with the movie. Is like these are really well shot and well directed set pieces, but it's like it's kind of distracting that you can tell that the footage is sped up. I don't know why they keep doing that in the movie. I don't think they need to do that. But other than that, yeah, well choreographed fight. And so after Bond defeats the goons, that's when Tracy runs away and at his car, and then Bond winks at the camera and says, "This hasn't happened to the other guy. This doesn't." I'm like, what? Wait, what are you talking about? Like that's one thing that kind of bothers me about this one, which I'll get into. I'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, I didn't like that that whole, oh, this didn't happen to the other guy, which they kind of break the fourth wall there, which I'm like, not feeling that. But getting into the main title sequence, it's fine. Once again, they're doing the women in the silhouettes and just doing different colors in the background and whatever, and which I said before, I don't really care about that kind of title sequence. I think it's not as interesting as the other title sequences. The silhouettes of the girls, I didn't really care for it personally. But one other thing that they tried to do in this sequence is they're showing footage of the previous Bond movies. I guess because they're really trying to trying to tell the audience that George Lazenby is the same character as Sean Connery. So like they're really trying to enforce that, which I didn't feel like they needed to do that. It's like, yeah, with the fourth wall breaking, and just the footage of that, and then we even have a scene in the movie where Bond goes through the gadgets and the props that were used in the previous movies, and then every time he picks up a distinct prop from a movie, the theme of that movie would play, and I'm like, okay, we get it, it's the same person. Like, you don't need to shove that in our faces. Like, I think you should trust the audience enough to know that Lazenby is the same as Connery. So that stuff I didn't care for. And then with the main theme of this movie, which is, I think it's cool. It's a nice theme. It's similar to how I feel about the instrumental of From Russia with Love that they use for that opening title sequence, which it works for that. But I didn't love it. There's some parts of the score where they use that theme where it works. But yeah, I didn't love this theme, but I do like it. It fits for this movie. Honestly, what I would have preferred they would do is use Louis Armstrong's song, "We Have All the Time in the World." Because Louis Armstrong is the G, man. So I really like his song in this movie, and I'm glad that they also used instrumentals for the score throughout the film. So I think it would have been better if they used Louis Armstrong's song for the title sequence. I think it would have worked better. And then you can keep the Majesty's Secret Service score throughout the movie, but I think it would have just worked better if it was in the opening titles. Though it also worked with the montage with Bond and Tracy in the film too, so that also worked. So I think it probably would have been repetitive if they used it both times with the title sequence and that montage. So I'm fine with either or. Just have a preference with the Louis Armstrong song. But yeah, let's talk about Lazenby more. So, as I said, like, people are really divided on Lazenby's performance. Like, people think his delivery is dry and inconsistent, and I don't agree. I really don't. I actually really liked Lazenby as Bond. Is he better than Sean Connery? No. But I think he makes the role his own. Though at the same time, like, he has the charm and the charisma and the traits enough there to remind us that this is James Bond, which is what I wanted, which is what in general what I want with the other actors that play Bond, that they always keep the essence of Bond, the main characteristics or development of Bond, but they make it their own. So, and that's what I think George Lazenby has done. I think he's very charming. I think he is charismatic when he wants to be. And I feel there's more of a human side of Lazenby's performance that we didn't necessarily get with Sean Connery. Like, this one, this portrayal of Bond feels more down to earth. This one, this Bond is not trying to play it too cool, which, like I said, it works for some of the other actors like Connery and Craig and whoever, but it's like with Lazenby, it really helped bring a certain vulnerability to his performance, which helps us get more of an emotion, because that Bond is playing he's playing a facade, he's trying to hide his emotions and stuff like that. But I just like to see Lazenby be a little bit more vulnerable, but at the same time, like, he's not a punk. Like, he really pulls off he does pull off the action sequences in this movie really well, and he still has that the essence of toughness with him. So he's not like a punk. He's not like a sissy at all. He still is like a very he's a really strong presence though. Okay, so I guess I would say there's like a couple of moments that with Lazenby that may feel slightly out of character for Bond. But depending on which version of Bond you like the most, but it's like there are certain moments that I feel like, okay, that's not something really that Bond would do. Like there's a scene where Bond is trying to run away from Blofeld's minions at this carnival or whatever, and he gets scared when somebody walks up on him and stuff like that. He's like, oh, and I'm like, Bond would keep his cool with that. Like, he doesn't easily get startled and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's just that type of stuff that where I'm like, okay, that's one like that's not something you would do. And then there's this whole thing with him trying to disguise himself with this weird accent. Like he's wearing this Sherlock Holmes outfit or whatever, and he's wearing this Scottish, outfit too, and it has this weird accent, which I'm like, I mean, this is something that Bond has done before, but something just felt kind of off about this disguise that he does. Like, it just feels kind of cartoony, especially with his accent. Something just felt kind of off, but I guess it didn't take me out completely. Like, it works with the story of the film, but it's just like there's stuff like that where I'm like, is this something Bond would truly do? It's a little silly, and this is some of the things that kind of bothered me about Roger Moore's portrayal as well, which we'll get to in the near future. But like, there's some silly stuff like that where I'm like, okay, really, why are we doing this? But overall, I do enjoy him as Bond. And controversial statement on my end, I may like Lazenby a little bit more than Roger Moore. I know that's blasphemy to say. I know a lot of people probably won't agree with me on that, but it's like, I truly feel that. Like, I mean, even though I don't hate Roger Moore, but it's like, something like Lazenby feels more familiar with how the other actors portray Bond. Like, they feel like extensions of each other, which, I feel Lazenby is closer to that than Roger Moore. I feel Roger took the role he took too many liberties with the role, which in my opinion. So I feel like with Lazenby, while he is trying to make it his own, he's still trying to respect what Connery did before. So talking about the main Bond girl, Tracy, I think she is great. I think she's one of the best Bond girls of the series, and mainly because she also helps to humanize Bond in the movie. Because like with other Bond girls, like you expect that they go through the typical, that's the girl that helps Bond with the mission and or sleeps with him and nothing more. But with this, with Tracy though, there's more to it than that. Bond sees her more than just an object or just someone to help on missions. Like, he actually wants to be with her. He actually has feelings for this woman. So it's like, it's very rare to see that from Bond, because he, like I said, he has this superficial persona, and he's not trying to get caught up in feelings. But it's like, it's just nice to see Bond be vulnerable to a woman. And on top of that, Tracy is actually very hands-on, and she's not a damsel in distress. She's actually very tough. And towards the beginning of the movie, she's like seeing past his facade and stuff like that. I like seeing that in Bond girls, that they don't get easily swooned by Bond, you know? It's like they actually, you know, have a mind of their own, they have their own opinions, and it's like they don't necessarily need a man to help them, but once again, it's not shoved in your face, you know? She's just an independent, strong character, and I really like that. And it caught me by surprise, really, that, you know, that Bond falls in love with her so much that he wants to marry her. And so I really like that. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did, because I'm used to Bond being the womanizer and stuff like that. But the chemistry between Bond and Tracy, I just found it really endearing and romantic. The one issue that I have with it, though, is that I just wish that we spent more time with it, because their chemistry was just so good. Like, they spend time with each other at the beginning and at the end, you know. And like, those two moments were some of my favorite parts of the movie, you know. Their romantic chemistry. And of course you had that, like I said, the montage with the Louis Armstrong song playing in the background. All that I really liked. So I just wish there was more, because like, literally they just write Tracy out of the movie for like the most of the middle part of the movie, like, and that kind of like made me scratch my head, you know, because they took time to, you know, get to know each other and have dates, and it's like, you know, falling in love, but then Bond has to go away on this mission. Like, I probably would have liked it more if, like, we got maybe at the very least a phone call from Tracy or something. Like, I don't know, it's just, and it just seems weird that she would naturally be okay with him just leaving for that long. You know, I just wish that, you know, they could have incorporated her a little bit more. But, like, really, that's my only thing. That's my only problem with it. It's just I wish they spent more time with it. But, like I said, I really like Bond and Tracy together. Getting into the main villain of this movie, which is Blofeld again, but it's played by a different actor. Again. This time it's played by Telly Savalas. I actually really like this Blofeld a lot. It's probably my second favorite Blofeld. Like I said, this is, once again, is not 100% how I'd picture Blofeld after From Russia with Love and Thunderball, but it's much closer than the Blofeld in You Only Live Twice. Like, I felt like the Blofeld in that one felt like a completely different person. So, Telly's performance as Blofeld, it seems more in line with how Blofeld might be. However, like, this Blofeld, while he's bald, he doesn't have the scar on his face, and I don't understand that. Like, why do they keep changing the look of Blofeld? Like, why are they not being consistent with that? It's just really strange. And then they change it again in Diamonds Are Forever, which we'll get to next time. But it's just like, it's just so weird that they keep changing the look of Blofeld. Like, why can't they just stick with one thing and that's it? Now, I know behind the scenes there's rights, like issues with the rights of Blofeld, so that may be why they keep changing the actor and stuff like that. But it's just really frustrating, because, like, you know, you get invested in one actor, because, like, I wouldn't say that any of the Blofelds do a bad performance, but it's just like, you're trying to get invested in one actor, but you can't really do that because the next movie they change the actor again, and it's like that actor does a really good job. So it's like, it's really hard for me to just, you know, stay invested with this character when they keep changing the actor over and over and over again. And I thought, you know, them changing the actors for Batman back in the day was ridiculous. But yeah, I still like Telly's version of Blofeld. He's more physical. He's a more physical Blofeld, which also surprised me because it feels like he's more of a villain that plays stuff in the background. He doesn't really get hands on with his stuff, but I actually like that. They made him more hands on with his stuff, and he actually is not afraid to get into a fight or get into a chase with Bond and stuff like that. So I actually like that. He's not really the coward that he was in You Only Live Twice. And his voice is much more deep, which is how it was in From Russia with Love and Thunderball. So that was more consistent as well. So, and then the cat, he doesn't carry the cat around all the time, which I thought was kind of silly in You Only Live Twice. So this Blofeld, I think, was really good. And overall, his plan in this movie, it's kind of disturbing if you really think about it, because he's creating this virus and he's trying to put it in these different girls from different parts of the nation. So he's sending off this virus to spread throughout the entire world to cause problem with the society and the economy with that. When the virus spreads, which would just lead to Blofeld holding the world for ransom for an antidote and stuff like that. So that's a pretty crazy plan, and it's kind of disturbing too. Which I kind of liked how crazy this plan was, because Blofeld just building him up to be such the mastermind, and him actually creating the virus himself and creating this elaborate scheme. It's just really, really interesting. And then he has this whole hypnotic trance that he has over the girls in the movie, which was kind of eerie and stuff like that. So it's like this is stuff that I haven't really seen in a Bond film yet. It's really, really fascinating. Another thing I really liked about this movie is the cinematography. The cinematography is really beautiful in this movie. It's and the way it's directed and shot, it's probably the most unique out of the 6 films so far. Just something feels more expansive and big, and just overall larger in scope with this movie. And I'm a sucker for lens flares. If you guys don't know, I like me some lens flares, and there's some lens flares here and there that looked really cool. It's not overbearing, and it fit with the direction of the movie. So it's that's a little detail that I like. It's not a main thing of the film. It's just something it's a little thing that I like. I like lens flares in movies. I know people think it's too much, but I personally like them. The J.J. Abrams lens flares, I like. I know people say, "Oh, there's too many lens flares," blah blah blah. I like it. It gives it a sense of style and uniqueness to it. So I like that. And the action sequences are really good. Some of the best set pieces of the I guess I would put it of the Connery films so far. This is some of the best set pieces they've done. With the ski chase, that was really good. Both ski chases, with the first one with Bond by himself, and then the second one with Tracy, which led to a huge avalanche, which I thought that was pretty crazy. And then you had that shootout at Blofeld's lair, which was really good, with Tracy fighting off one of the goons, which that was really cool, and Bond coming in, literally sliding on ice and shooting the minions while he's sliding on the ice. So I thought that was really, really cool. And then there was that other chase on the I don't know what those are. It's those little cart things that slide down the mountain. There was a chase between Bond and Blofeld on those things, which I thought that was really cool. It was really probably the most intense set piece of the movie, other than the avalanche scene, which I thought that was pretty crazy too. But I really liked that as well. And then there was also a car chase in the carnival and stuff like that, Tracy rescues Bond in the car, which that was a really well done car chase sequence as well. The only thing that I didn't necessarily like about it is there are some green screen shots that were really noticeable. So that was one thing that was kind of taking me out a little bit. Like so far, the Bond movies don't have the best green screen around, but in the previous movies they weren't as noticeable. But in this one, the green screen was just like in your face, and it was like in between like actual practical set pieces of them actually skiing down the mountain and actually creating an avalanche and the car chase or whatever. So it's like you totally notice that they're behind the green screen. So I wish they kind of fixed that more, because the other stuff in the movie was directed really well. One other thing that I really like about this movie is the stuff in MI6. Because in the previous movies, I said, it's really repetitive with MI6, with M and Moneypenny, because they do the same thing over and over and over. But it's like, with this one, they actually expand their roles a little bit more. We see M more than one time. And we actually see there's like a conflict between M and 007, with him trying to go after Blofeld, but M's not trying to let him do his stuff. And, he suspends him from the Majesty's Secret Service. So I like that there's conflict there. And then Moneypenny, I think this is like probably some of my favorite Moneypenny scenes. If not, this probably might be my favorite Moneypenny scene of all the Bond series. Well, okay, actually, I like Moneypenny in the Craig movies too. So I don't know if I could go that far, but I really did like Moneypenny scenes in Majesty's Secret Service, because it's more of the flirting and stuff like that, but it's actually, they're actually building more chemistry between Bond and Moneypenny. Like, there's more going on with the scene instead of just like Moneypenny giving him something and Bond, flirting with her for a second and then having to go see M. But like, there's more to it than that. And one thing I was, kind of worried about, because Lazenby, this is his first performance as Bond, so probably his chemistry with Moneypenny probably won't be as natural as Connery, but I was wrong. The chemistry between those two actually was just as good, if not better, than Connery, Like, it's just really nice to see them, work off each other really well. And then, Bond being more flirty than usual, because I ship Bond and Moneypenny. Like, I bought them. I've shipped them since the beginning. Like, I don't know why they don't just pull the trigger and have Bond just be with Moneypenny, because that's what they've been teasing throughout the entire series. They just feel like they work off each other really well. They both are agents of MI6. They both respect each other more than just someone to sleep with. So it's like, so it's like, I don't understand why they don't just pull the trigger on it. I totally would want Bond and Moneypenny to get together at some point. But yeah, I just really like the chemistry a lot. And then the one thing I was kind of disappointed about is that, Q doesn't really do much in this movie. He doesn't give Bond any gadgets. As far as I know, Q talked to M about something towards the beginning of the movie, and I don't think it really held a bearing to the rest of the film. But it was kind of disappointing that we didn't see Q really do much. But yeah, so talking more about the wedding stuff. Like I said, it did shock me that Bond was getting married in this movie. Didn't expect that to happen because, like I said, he's such a womanizer, and I like the whole wedding ceremony that they did. And I actually bought them getting married. I believed that Bond was in love with Tracy. So the whole ceremony I thought was really beautiful. And then just the little details of character interaction that they had at the wedding, I thought was great. Q coming back, and even we've seen in the Bond films that that Q and 007 have their banter together, and it seems like Q is annoyed of Bond a lot. But there's actually a time where we see Q and Bond actually bond a little bit, pun intended. But just seeing Q be like, just happy to see Bond, be happy with a girl, and then being like, if there's anything that you need, don't hesitate to ask. It's like he considers him family. So I thought that was really nice. And then with Moneypenny there and M and them, of course they're gonna support Bond. And Moneypenny, you can see that she's happy for Bond, but at the same time she's kind of sad because she's disappointed that Bond didn't pick her. And I kind of felt that, and she shed a tear or two, and I'm like, oh, that hit me in the heart, So it's like I just like it was really sad to see, but it's like I like that they acknowledged that Moneypenny secretly had feelings for Bond, And even though Bond chose another woman, she still is supporting him. And then when Bond and Tracy go drive away, he throws a bouquet or a hat or something to her. So I like that, because it shows that Bond doesn't completely ignore her. It shows that Bond always has Moneypenny in his heart. So I just like that. It was just so touching, so charming. It's just this is stuff you don't normally see in a Bond film, and it doesn't completely feel out of place. It just adds another layer to Bond's character. And another thing that adds to Bond's character is the shocking death at the end. I didn't expect for them to go there. They literally end the movie with Blofeld doing a drive-by shooting and killing Tracy, and they just end the movie there. And that also shocked me, because most Bond films end on a happy note or a triumphant note, but this one, no, it's ending on a tragedy. And I think this is a really defining moment of Bond, because this moment keeps coming up in the future Bond films. This is something that haunts him for the rest of the films, and it kind of adds a layer, and adds kind of a reason to why Bond is the way he is, why he doesn't get caught up in feelings, and why he's always putting on this front is because he's afraid of having the people that he cares about in danger, especially a loved one. So this that moment at the end when Tracy dies, I think that's probably one of the best and the most important moments of the Bond series, because we actually get an understanding to why Bond is the way he is. And I give a lot of kudos to Lazenby with how he acted in that scene, especially because this is his first time being Bond, and the way he emoted in that scene, I thought it just worked really well. I don't know how many people really agree with me on that, but that's what I saw. I thought that's one of the moments that proved to me that Lazenby is just as worthy of being Bond as the other actors, So yeah, I thought all of that was great. Talk about the supporting characters real quick. Tracy's father, I thought he was fine. Yeah, just being the father. He did help with the Bond defeating Blofeld towards the end with the shootout at his lair. So that was cool. I didn't really like that he was trying to push Bond on Tracy so much. Like, he literally tells Bond that he feels like Tracy needs a guy to dominate her and, you know, show her who's boss. Like, I didn't necessarily like that, but you know, at the same time, he did show that he is a caring father, so it's not like he's abusive to her. But that line just kind of shocked me a little bit. And I liked the girls that Blofeld uses for his plot. I like the interaction with the girls and Bond. I thought that was it was kind of funny, actually. It was kind of charming. So just, you know, I just wish we got to know more of the girls. We only got to know two of them, but you know, I thought that was cool with Bond's interaction with the girls. And then the main hench woman of the movie, I mean, not too much to say about her either. She's very similar to I think it was number 3 in From Russia with Love. Like, she really reminded me of her. That may be the same character. I don't know, because they're both redheads and they're both older ladies. So she served her purpose well. But yeah, I think that's all I got for this movie. So overall, I enjoyed this film. I thought it was a good Bond film. I thought the set pieces in the film were really good. I thought the character moments were some of the best character moments of the series so far. I think Lazenby was a pretty good Bond. And you know, there are some things he needed to tweak with his performance, yes, for sure. But I think if he was given another chance to play Bond, I think he would have done better, you know. But I think this was a good start for Lazenby, and I wish we would have got more of him, you know. And Tracy is one of the best Bond girls of the series, in my opinion. I think Telly Savalas was a really good Blofeld, even though I wish they were more consistent with the previous movies. And yeah, just overall, this was a surprise. I wish people were talking about this movie more. Because I feel like this movie is just as important as Goldfinger and Casino Royale and GoldenEye and stuff like that. I think this is just as important as those movies. So I like this movie a lot. So I will give On Her Majesty's Secret Service a 5.8 out of 7. So that's how I feel about On Her Majesty's Secret Service. What did you guys think about it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? Did you even know this movie existed? Do you feel like George Lazenby is as worthy of being Bond as the other actors? Comment below and let me know. Alright, so unfortunately, Lazenby did not come back for the next Bond film. And I really wish he did, because I really don't want to talk about this next Bond film, but I got to. So the next Bond movie we will be talking about is the final performance of Sean Connery, and honestly, I wish he just didn't do this movie. I wish he just stayed retired from Bond, but nope, we get him one more time. So the next Bond film we will be talking about is Diamonds Are Forever. So tune in for that when it comes out. But that's all I have for you, Bond fans, and I will see you guys in the next one. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.